Hey, what's up everyone? I'm Spencer and this is Ani and you're watching our YouTube channel, Pikey and the Hog. So each week we're going to go ahead and give you your weekly news binge where we're going to cover TV and movies, music, sports, and lifestyle. We'll get started with TV and movies. Ani.
Say my name.
Alright, so we live in the online streaming world, and Netflix is taking a huge advantage of that. They are bumping up their subscription fees. If you have the $9.99 package, which allows you to watch on 2 devices at one time and in HD quality, your fee will now be $10.99 starting October 18th. If you have the $11.99 premium package, where you can watch it on 4 devices at the same time, but also in 4K Ultra HD quality, your subscription would be $13.99 starting October 18th. But if you have the $7.99 package, like us two commoners, where you only get standard quality and only 1 device at a time, your subscription is remaining the same.
So the movie premieres coming out this week are The Foreigner. It's an action starring Pierce Brosnan and Jackie Chan. Jackie Chan plays a humble businessman with a secret past who becomes embroiled in government conspiracy after his daughter is killed in a terrorist attack. Another one coming out is The Florida Project. It's an indie drama starring Willem Dafoe. Lots of people know him as the Green Goblin from Spider-Man. And also starring Brooklyn Prince, who is a 6-year-old girl who engages in mischief and adventure with her friends and a rebellious mother. All of this takes place in the shadow of Disney World in Orlando. That's been getting great reviews. I highly recommend that one. If you want to go see an animation with your extremely immature friends or girlfriends, there is Gnome Alone, which is an animation coming out. It stars a young girl named Chloe who discovers that the gnomes in her garden are living creatures fighting a war against other creatures known as the Trogs. That's the American experience. And Chloe must decide whether to ignore the conflict or aid the gnomes in their fight. I would ignore it. Sounds dangerous, to be honest. And the final one coming out this week is Happy Death Day. That's a horror starring Jessica Rothe as a college student who is forced to relive the day of her murder over and over as she tries to identify her killer. And that movie brings us to our first special segment of the week, Rotten Critics.
That's right. I'm rotten. He's critic. We're both rotten critics.
And we're both very rotten. So
That's right.
For this segment, we are going to take a movie that does not have a score yet on Rotten Tomatoes, take a baseline for it, and tell you if we think it's going to score over or under that score. This movie, Happy Death Day, which we're scoring this week, we're going to use 50 as a baseline for the critic score and 60 as a baseline for the audience score. Audience tends to be a little bit more lenient. Mm-hmm. So what do you think is going to happen?
So I'm going to take the over for both, actually. I think this is something this movie that critics are actually going to like. It's a plot that hasn't been used yet, and it's the same director as The Purge, I believe, which is why I'm also going to give it the over for the audience score. It's close to Halloween time, so these horror movies usually get a lot of turnout in the theaters, and people usually leave happy, so I'm going to give it the over for both.
I'm going to disagree a little bit. I'm going to give it the under for the critics score, just because I think that it's the same director and the same producer, I think, and I wasn't a huge fan of The Purge. I liked the idea, didn't love the execution, which is why I'm going to go under on this. Audience score, however, I'm going to go over as well, because I think it's one of those movies, it's kind of like a teen horror, bring everyone out on a Friday to see the movie, so that's why I think, this will get a pretty good audience score.
And since we're both going on the over, I'm going to give it a 75 for the audience score.
And I'll give it a 68.
And the loser has to go watch Gnome Alone alone.
So for our music segment, we're going to start off every week with me giving you a news story of what is going on in the industry. And this week you got to ask yourself if you would invest in Eminem's music, or your favorite artist's music for that matter, because you might have a chance to do that pretty soon. This week it was announced that a company called Royalty Flow will be offering investors a chance to buy shares of famous artists' catalogs by investing in their company. So to be clear about this, you're investing in Royalty Flow, but indirectly you're investing in the success of these artists' music because that is what the company does. It's a new idea. It's never been done before, so we'll see what happens with that. I would wait on it, though.
Yeah, I don't know if I would invest in his music, but I have invested a lot of my time with Dua Lipa, who is a breakout singer in my opinion. Throughout our series, we'll be giving you guys an artist that you might want to listen to, that we've been listening to, and we'll categorize them between breakout, comeback, legacy, and mainstream. As I've already said, Dua Lipa is the artist I'm going with. She just released her self-titled debut album on June 2nd, and she's the first female artist since Adele in 2015 to jump to #1 in the charts in the United Kingdom. If you live in the DMV area, she's performing at the Fillmore on November 28th.
I didn't know she was doing so well.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a totally different artist, totally different genre. The Struts, which are their classic feel, classic look to them. And they're breakout, but they're verging on mainstream at this point. They're, like I said, sort of a classic rock-looking band. But the reason I say they're probably verging on mainstream at this point is because they're opening up for the Foo Fighters at a new venue in D.C. called the Anthem. If you're opening up for the Foo Fighters, you're probably just about mainstream. But yeah, well worth checking out. Their new album is great, and you probably heard them without realizing it. So
if they weren't sold out, we could have gone and checked them out.
we could have, but we can't. Yeah,
we
and they were also pretty expensive. You know, it's one of those real small shows for a huge band,
Yeah.
which is awesome.
We're on the
but-
$8 Netflix subscription. We can't
Yeah,
afford
we
a concert
can't.
like
We're
that.
the common man, you know.
And there it goes! See you later, number 100!
Novak to win it. The kick is on the way. It is good! It's good! It's good! Watch it in no time.
To kick off the sports segment, I'm going to give you guys the Week 5 NFL recap. The Steelers found themselves on the wrong side of an upset once again, losing 30-6 at home to the Jacksonville Jaguars, where quarterback Big Ben threw 5 interceptions. The Panthers continued their hot streak as they went into Detroit and beat the Lions 27-24. In a battle of winless teams, the Chargers beat the Giants 27-22, but the Giants lost more than just their 6th game. They lost their receiver Odell Beckham for the rest of the season with a broken ankle. The Chiefs remained undefeated as they went into Houston, and despite a huge performance by rookie quarterback Deshaun Watson, the Chiefs ended up winning. But the Texans find themselves in a familiar position as they lost star defensive end J.J. Watt to the end of the season with a fractured bone in his left leg. The Dolphins, amidst all the boos for Jay Cutler in Dolphin Stadium, ended up winning the game against the Titans 16-10, even though the Miami offense does blow. No, literally. The offensive line coach for the Miami Dolphins was caught snorting a white powder off of a table, and the video was leaked. White powder. Most can assume it is cocaine, but the offensive line coach plans to resign after this video was released. And that is your Week 5 NFL recap.
And now we move on to our second special segment of the show, which is Ani's Icarus of the Week.
That's right. I'm going to give you guys a player that's been really hot the past couple of weeks, but then flew a little bit too close to the sun and is going to come crashing down. So this week's Icarus is Cam Newton, which might be a little bit of a surprise because he dominated the Patriots and the Lions in back-to-back weeks, but he gets a matchup against the Philadelphia Eagles on Thursday night. So as we know, Thursday night games don't really give you a huge scoring performance as we saw last week with the Bucs and the Patriots. Tom Brady didn't have a huge game. Jameis Winston also didn't have a huge game. And the Eagles look to get one of their star defenders, Fletcher Cox, back this week, which is really going to improve that pass rush. And I really don't see Cam Newton having a great week.
I like that call. So take him out of your fantasy lineups, guys. And this is our next special segment in which we're going to award the Kicker of the Week, a kicker in the NFL who we love the most. It's going to be our KOW.
And this week he goes by Mr. Clutch,
a.k.a. Automatic Adam.
a.k.a. the Iceman.
Adam Vinatieri, who is the Indianapolis kicker.
That's right. He's won 4 Super Bowls, and he's been in the league for 21 years.
And this week he kicked a 51-yarder in overtime to beat San Francisco.
That's right. So Adam Vinatieri, you're the
you are
Week
this
5.
week's Das Boot. And that brings us to our final segment of the week, the lifestyle segment. Every week we're going to give you a product that we like the most, one that we use. This week we got
Everyman Jack, the
Everyman
body
Jack.
wash.
The body wash, all right?
It's
Great body
100%
wash.
all natural. It's gluten-free.
I don't use non-gluten-free
That's
body
right.
wash.
And the scent that we like is cedarwood, but if something else that you like, they got sandalwood, citrus, signature mint. So whichever one you like, go buy it. It's about only $6. You can get it at Target, Walgreens,
Stop using Axe, guys.
Old
Let's
Spice.
get something else on the shelves here.
Be environmentally friendly, please.
And with that, thanks for watching.
Check you later.
We'll see you next week.
Nice. Good. It's a good ending. That was qual ending.
Yeah. I'm going to stop the audio.
yeah, yeah.